Happy Randomizer Monday, everybody! Looks like we got something fun today. Toxin damage on Corpus should be so much fun to tank through, but let's just get right to it and not worry about the whole mission that's setting up in front of me. Oh, come on. Is it going to actually randomize it? Hello? That's not doing anything. Or is it just randomizing which loadout I use? That can't be right. There we go. Okay. I was wondering if it was actually ever going to set off things. Well, I tell you what. I haven't gotten an excuse to use Wukong in a little bit. And one thing I did with him since the last time I've tried playing him is I swapped out Steel Fiber into Adaptation. So we'll see how that goes. Now, obviously, a big thing with Wukong, right, is that you want to be eating a lot of damage to your HP to make sure that when your Defy comes off cooldown, you get it to go off again, and you have enough energy to keep it running indefinitely. Is the basic goal of playing this Warframe, right? And I've seen a whole bunch of other people that have all their different Defy builds that they have come up with, and that have different philosophies on how Wukong should or shouldn't be built. Now, my philosophy is to go for an extreme amount of duration. That way, every single time Wukong dies, he has his Defy give him, in this build, roughly 15 straight seconds of solid invincibility, which is more than even, I think, Loki grants with his, the one augment to his Switch Teleport that makes Warframes invincible, stuff like that. So, like, what happens here, right, is that because the build has a lot of duration and, of course, Streamline on it, you can actually keep Defy ticking in the background, and even if you're not taking damage continuously, it'll still stay on for, like, a minute on end if you have full energy at the start. Plus, it also gives you that very, very long frame of invulnerability. That's basically the goal of this particular build. Now, there's other things you can do with Wukong, right? This build right here is built around Primal Rage and making sure that his giant iron staff is actually able to get a lot of work done. So as you can see, I'm running a lot of power range here to make sure the staff gains more attack range and whatnot. But, you know, the build that I've been enjoying, actually on this build I should probably go for adaptation too. That's adaptation for you, right? I just got my hands on this mod, and one of the things I've been noticing about it is that it's really good at making frames that are already hard tanks into even harder tanks, right? Because a lot of times hard tank frames have abilities like Wukong's Defy or like Chroma and Abron, how they have big armor buffs or things like that. And the biggest, same goes for Inaros, right, where he has a huge armor buff that you can gain. And the biggest thing about adaptation is that as opposed to just adding a bit of extra armor to a Warframe that already gains a ton of armor, you're instead letting that Warframe make use of their of the bonus armor that they're getting off of their abilities, and using adaptation as a different type of damage mitigations, because, you know, you're going to be wanting multiple different ways to mitigate damage rather than just adding armor. Anyways, so like I said, lots of duration, so narrow-minded, continuity, constitution, and then I've got vitality there for extra health, because we want to make sure that when the Defy heals us back up, it gives us enough health left back over so that when we take all that health as damage, Hunter Adrenaline gives us back a full energy pool. Beyond that, like I said, natural talent is what I've been using for a while. It's very good at making sure that if Wukong ever does run out of energy, or if Wukong ever has Defy tick off for any other reason, like getting silenced, for example, that you can recast Defy as fast as possible and make sure you don't get one shot during the casting animation. And then we got Handspring for faster knockdown recovery, although that tends to be a bit irrelevant when you're permanently invulnerable. And finally, Steel Charge, because that gives us a ton of mod capacity, and more importantly, bonus melee damage for Wukong's Iron Staff, which is reasonably short in this build because of the narrow-minded, but the base range is still the same as your average staff or polearm, so that's pretty good here. Now, I need to probably slap one more forma onto this thing just so I can get the very last mod here, which I've got set to Volcanic Edge, so I can get that sucker turned into a stronger elemental mod. But as you can see here, we're going with Pressure Point, Reach, Fury, generic stuff that you'd want on any Exalted melee. And then Drifting Contact, because Drifting Contact does indeed apply to Exalted melees, even though the vast majority of them can't use, what's the original one? Body Count? The original combo counter mod, Body Count, doesn't work, but Drifting Contact does for whatever reason. Not that you'd really want to use anything but DC, because of the fact that Exalted weapons have less capacity than regular melee weapons, since their stance doesn't give them any capacity. On top of that, I've got Organ Shatter because of the bonus crit, the Primal Fury, or whatever that mod is. When I actually want to use Iron Staff to carry a mission, then I want the critical damage to be as high as possible, since it'll go to 50% to 100% crit chance based on that augment. On top of that, we got Prime Fury Strike, Voltaic Strike for a bunch of corrosive, and then, like I said, the extra elemental here. It's not a huge difference without the mod being maxed here on the Volcanic Edge. It's just I could have maybe a couple hundred extra heat damage on top of the 1000 impact and corrosive that's already dealing. So there's that. Could be a slightly better build, but it's not terrible. Wukong, my particular Wukong, I don't tend to pull out of the staff very often though, so that it is what it is. Now the remainder of these weapons are not great, shall we say. The Daikyu is not one of my favorite bow weapons by any means. You know, it's got the slowest base draw speed, so you can get the draw time up to 10 seconds if you really feel the need to make sure that it takes that long. But beyond that, for a real build here, the biggest thing that we want to go with here, right, is Vital Acceleration to increase the draw time. Because 0.36 seconds still isn't terrible. It's what bows used. It's roughly the draw speed that bows used to have before almost every bow in the game had its base pull speed increased to half a second rather than a full second. Anyways, beyond that, we've also got Split Chamber Restoration for multi-shot base damage, and a couple crit mods, Point Strike for crit chance, Vital Sense for crit damage, and some base corrosive damage, which I might want to swap into magnetic. And you know what? I don't use this particular bow very much just because I enjoy the Raktaseranos and the Dread a lot more. So I'm going to go ahead and swap that to magnetic just for this mission, since we're going to be going up against Corpus, and they're going to be resisting toxin-based elements. Anyway, on top of that, there's 4 extra capacity, so I guess I will throw in Thermite rounds and call it good. No Thunderbolt here. The only bows where you really want to be using Thunderbolt are generally going to be crossbows, since those have a very high fire rate, so you can essentially proc the on-hit explosion repeatedly over and over and over and use it as an area suppression weapon. I'm actually really low on credits right now. Holy cow, I didn't realize I was down below 1 million. See, I spent a whole bunch of into things leveling up that adaptation, as you can tell. Anyway, so we're going to be not relying on the Daikyu as much as the Pox here. Now, I'm a bit worried because the Pox is a full elemental weapon, and that's going to be resisted even harder by their elementals, but we'll see how this goes. Now, the Pox is actually a pretty good meta weapon, though. You'll see people using this against high-level content a lot. And typically, you don't see them setting up the way I've got the 4 elemental setup here, where they're going into corrosive plus blast. Typically, in high-level content, you see people grabbing something like gas magnetic, actually, on these things, just because the gas procs can stack repeatedly and can have stealth multipliers and things applied to them. But I've never been that much of a fan of going in for the meta pox stuff and trying to get the stealth multipliers on the ticks and things. My preference is to use blast damage so that each individual tick of poison from the pox has a chance to knock enemies down and crowd control them. And then, of course, the corrosive will then tick over time and shred off armor. And that has always been the utility build on that has always seemed to be a bit better to me. Now, on top of that stuff, we've got Hornet Strike for more base damage. We've got multi-shot and a bit of extra fire rate. Not that fire rate is really that needed on these things, because they'll empty all 4 shots out of the clip pretty fast. Finally, Fulmination to make sure that the area of effects of the poison clouds is as large as possible, which is basically the goal that I'm going for here. Hopefully these suckers, the Pox are an amazing weapon. Hopefully they'll still be able to carry me through this stuff. No, I can't say the same for the Furax Wraith. Oh, -2 capacity, that's odd. Huh, I must have leveled up one of these mods recently. Well, let's go ahead and drop the Life Strike off of there. And let's see, we got True Steel Organ Shatter for whatever reason. I'm not sure why I've got that particular build on here exactly. I would guess this may have been getting used as Because I haven't touched a Furax Wraith in a long while, so this may have been getting used as an exalted weapon to shell at one point. What else we got there? Drifting Contact, Pressure Point Fury, Scourge, Strike for more corrosive, and then the extra 5 capacity. I'll just throw some kind of unranked heat mod on there. Not a big deal. Finally, the Sentinel I'm looking at here is Jin. Now, I haven't gotten hold of the Jin upgrade mod that Samaras got a while back, where the Sentinel will automatically revive itself every so often. Because I've never really been a fan of Jin, and I've never actually been the kind of person that keeps on top of getting Samaras rep every day either, so I'm still behind, haven't gotten hold of all of the Sentinel augments that he's got so far. I've got the one for Shade, I've got the one for Helios, I got the one for Carrier, because I do use those 3 Sentinels a lot. But I still need the one for Death Cube, and I still need the one for Jin, because I don't really use either of those very much. And in Jin's case, it's because the Sentinel is, in my opinion, far too squishy for what it's attempting to do, namely taunt enemies into attacking it. And granted, it does slow the enemies down in the process, but, you know, there's the only real thing that I find to be useful on Jin is the fact that the Fatal Attraction does have that interaction with the Gazelle Machete. And when I do want to have some fun, the Gazelle Machete is actually a surprisingly powerful weapon. But, you know, the Machete plus relatively squishy Sentinel requires a lot of investment to get them both maxed out and whatnot, and I'm just not in the mood for that sort of thing right now. So anyways, we've got Sanctuary here, and in principle I should probably drop that for one of these enhanced vitality style mods, but I'm not going to worry about it. Redirections should be good enough for tank stats for now, since I got the Prime Regent. We got Vacuum, of course, Sacrifice, Mid-Array, Animal Instinct, all the generic utility mods. Got to make sure, even though this doesn't have a form on it still can fit most of the generic utility. Usually a good thing about Sentinels. Now, one last thing that I'm going to do with my Wukong is, because this is Wukong, I would actually like to swap off of Xenoric, since this frame relies very hard on leaving his Defy on, taking lots of damage, and making sure that that Rage replenishes his energy over time. So instead we're going to go with Unairu. That way, even I'm be able to reflect back damage to enemies just when they're shooting me while I'm vulnerable, and I can stack up adaptation and whatnot during that time, and then be hard to kill after it comes out. We'll have to see how this works too, because one thing I have noticed in the past couple days is that adaptation is fantastic at stuffing bonus damage stories, because you'll get tons of resistance to, for example, viral or radiation or whatever type of damage it is that the enemies have bonus damage of, and that'll make it very difficult for them to kill you, since you're resisting the giant stack of bonus damage that the enemies have been granted by the modifier. We'll have to see here, though. Wukong doesn't have very much crowd control, so I don't know if he's going to be able to protect the target very well. Normally, Wukong's only real good crowd control is the jab right there, but that's got a very short range because I'm running narrow-minded. Yeah, let's see if I can get a Daikyu kill before they see me. Couple stealth kills. Osprey isn't going to alert anyone. See, that's still actually killing enemies because of magnetic damage and whatnot.
Let's go.
I assume, anyway.
The enemy is high alert.
Oh.
The moment you enter the holding area, the
Yeah, see, 30% resistance to specifically toxin damage up there in the right-hand corner. That's interesting. It's very interesting. Somebody must have also managed to deal just puncture damage to me, because I got one tick of that stuff. Although, to be fair, it'll always give you resistance to whatever dealt the most damage, so it could have just been that something dealt such pure puncture damage that it wasn't able to take toxin. Because I think the modifier is what, 50% bonus elemental, 90% bonus elemental, something like that. I forget. Anyways, got the Defy running. As you can see here, even though I don't have, oh dear, the Daikyu does still deal a lot of damage, but you can't snapshot it, right? Because it doesn't fire unless it's fully charged, as you can see there. And that's the biggest downside to the weapon, is the fact that it deals a lot of damage, but it doesn't have huge crit stats like some of the other bows do. It's more of a base damage plus status style weapon. And it doesn't really have the ability to snapshot, you know. And there is Jin instantly getting killed as he's trying to channel the taunt there. Oh, I am out of energy. Okay. I've actually been having some issues this particular patch with enemies like that right there, where when their shields get broken, they, for whatever reason, just aren't taking any damage beyond that. And in that case, I think it just was I didn't deal enough damage to kill them, but because the weapon didn't crit, you know. Just going ahead and using the Daikyu here for a little bit. There's Wukong's nice advanced parkour technique. Making sure you don't get dropped off the map. As you can see there, even without the what's this bucket? Even without taking too much health damage, I still was actually able to leave Defy on for quite a while. Like with this build, even without the see how this does in killing these guys. Even I'm seeing a bunch of zeros there. One of those elements is just not dealing damage. That's elemental modifiers for you. Gas resistance? Oh, yeah, because of the base fire damage from the what's this bucket? Whichever fusion molas I think they're called, something like that. That would combine with the toxin to make gas damage. Okay.
Keep moving.
Also, as you can see, the Pox does tend to run out of ammo pretty quickly. $16 base ammo capacity, 20 with carrier. Even so, not that amazing. And Jin is already dead because he taunt an enemy to hitting him that many times. Well, let's go into here.
Almost out of time.
Why not?
The bypass is done. Go.
Okay, good. It does work the way I thought it did. I hadn't actually tested yet to see if Wukong can gain damage resistance with adaptation by being shot while he's still invulnerable. Answer that question appears to be
Here are
yes.
the holding cells. Search each one for the hostage.
Hello, Mr. Nullifier. How you doing? Have my Defy toggle off there. I'm going to have to remove that. When I step out of the cell here. There you go, buddy. You can have the box now. I know that's what you've always wanted.
Captive to safety. Protect them at all costs. Watch yourself.
Ah, that was a good shot. Oh, wait, it was just a sniper improvement. I thought that was one of the wardens. As you can see there, the natural talent is quite useful. Unfortunately, the hostage is going to get demolished by these guys pretty repeatedly. So I'm just going to have to stand here, face tank the shots, and res them. As you can see, Unaira really isn't working there because of the fact that I'm not taking damage, so I'm not able to reflect any damage, but you know how it is. That is making it very hard for me to see on these epic box. Alright, I'm just trying to get down the nullifier so I can go handle it with a stick. But unfortunately, I think I missed him. Either way, this hostage is getting absolutely demolished by these guys. Holy cow. There we go. Alright. Let's rest him again so I have a little bit of time, and then the next 15 seconds I'm going to go ham with the stick and come back and rest. It's not like I'm really having energy issues either when I'm at a face tank that much damage repeatedly. Right click combo, by the way, on the Exalted Staff will knock enemies down repeatedly, as you can see. Where did he go? Wait, where did he go? There he is. Oh my god, he's glitched out and is not actually standing still while he's dead. Interesting. Interesting, and not in a good way. As you can see here, Wukong is probably the single tankiest Warframe in the game when it comes to scenarios where the amount of damage that is hitting him is just absolutely phenomenal, you know? Because you don't even have to consider how long you can stand there and tank that damage or how much effective health you have. As long as you're able to just sit there and draw aggro, you can just eat as much damage as you want and go invincible. Until you get hit by a nullifier bubble, in which case you may be in deep trouble. I haven't even... Oh yeah, that's right. The Fox got taken by this hostage there. He's down again.
They've got me. Tenno. Help.
Hold still, you glitchy little... Oh god. Oh my god. I'm actually low off on health. I need to recast this sooner rather than later. But what is going on? Please tell me this hostage can hold still long enough for me to actually revive him. My god. There we go. Jeez. Oh, you're right, right. Alright, someone kill me, real quick. Thank you.
They've got me. Tenno.
Jeez, why did he run backwards? Oh, because I ran backwards. This is just a problem, you know? Please full revive, thank you. Oh my god. This thing won't let me fight! As you can see, too, the energy issues that this build may face for keeping the primal staff up really just aren't a problem when there's that many enemies shooting you and you're taking that much damage with Rage on, you know? As you can see, this is a bit of a hairy mission. I kind of want to just bail out of here because that hostage keeps getting one shot. I don't think it'll let me extract while he's down. It might. It might just assume that someone comes back and picks him up. I don't really know. All I know is I'm going to run to extraction here because as indestructible as Wukong might be, and as lucky as it was that I got Wukong for that mission, I don't think that hostage had a chance in hell of being able to make it to the extraction by himself. Alright, well, that was fun. Alright, peace out, YouTube. Herb to Derp out.